Hey, modern fans and constructive critics, how are you? And your this year, it is social activist come good-hearted preacher Professor S. Suresh back with here explicitly for my 124th video on unveiling publication on YouTube today, 15th January 2021, Friday. The topic for today is stop consumption of unhealthy foods and enhance your lifespan or prolong your life. Junk food is unhealthy food that is high in calories from sugar or fat with little dietary fiber, protein, vitamins, minerals, or other important forms of nutritional value. Precise definitions vary by purpose and over time. Some high protein foods like meat prepared with saturated fat may be considered junk food. The term HFSS foods, high in fat, salt, and sugar, is used synonymously. Fast food and fast food restaurants are often equated with junk food, although fast foods cannot be categorically described as junk food. Most junk food is highly processed food. Concerns about the negative health effects resulting from a junk food heavy diet, especially obesity, have resulted in public health awareness campaigns and restrictions on advertising and sale in several countries. Junk food is pejorative dating back to at least to the 1950s. In Andrew F. Smith's Encyclopedia of Junk Food and Fast Food, junk food is defined as those commercial products, including candy, bakery products, ice cream, salty snacks, and soft drinks, which have little or no nutritional value but do have plenty of calories, salt, and fats. While not all fast foods are junk foods, most are. Fast foods are ready to eat foods served promptly after ordering. Some fast foods are high in calories and low in nutritional value, while other fast foods such as salads may be low in calories and high in nutritional value. Junk food provides empty calories, supplying little or none of the protein, vitamins, or minerals required for the nutritious diet. Many foods such as hamburgers, pizza, and tacos can be considered either healthy or junk food depending on the ingredients and preparation methods. The more highly processed items usually fall under the junk food category, including breakfast cereals that are mostly sugar or high fructose corn syrup and white flour or milled corn. Sometimes I raise my voice purposely. UK's Advertising Standards Authority, the self-regulatory agency for the UK ad industry, uses nutrient profiling to define junk foods as are scored for A nutrients, energy, saturated fat, total sugar and sodium, and C nutrients, fruits, vegetables and nut content, fiber and protein. The difference between A and C scores determine whether a food or beverage is categorized as HFSS, high fat, salt and sugar. Okay, in Panic Nation, unpicking the myths we are told about food and health. The junk food label is described as nutritionally meaningless. Food is food, and if there is zero nutritional value, then it is not food. It is equivalent to shit. Co-editor Vincent Marks explained to label a food as junk is just another way of saying I disapprove of it. There are bad diets, that is, bad mixes and quantities of food, but there are no bad foods except those that have become bad enough but through contamination or deterioration. Junk food in its various forms is extremely popular and an integral part of modern popular culture, especially in Western countries like US. In the US, annual fast food sales are in the area of 160 billion US, okay, 160 billion US dollars compared to supermarket sales of 620 billion US dollars, a figure which also includes junk food in the form of convenience foods, snack foods, and candy. TV dinner. A junk food addict is one who pretends to follow a healthy diet by day while at night gorges on Hostess Twinkies and Fritos corn chips. McDonald's and KFC, 36 years later, Time placed the Twinkie at number one. Not only a mainstay of our supermarket shelves and in our bellies, they have been a staple in our popular culture and above all in our hearts. Often criticized for its lack of any nutritional value whatsoever, the Twinkie has managed to persevere as a cultural and gastronomical icon. US also celebrate an annual National Junk Food Day on July 21st. As for junk food's appeal, there is no definitive scientific answer. Both physiological and psychological factors are cited. Food manufacturers spend billions of dollars on research and development to create flavor profiles that trigger the human affinity for sugar, salt, and fat. Consumption results in pleasurable, likely addictive effects in the brain. At the same time, massive marketing efforts are deployed, creating powerful brand loyalties that studies have shown will trump taste. It is well established that the poor eat more junk food overall than the more affluent, but the reasons for this are not clear. Few studies have focused on variations in food perception according to socioeconomic status. Some studies that are differentiated based on ACS socioeconomic status suggest that the economically challenged do not perceive healthy food much differently than any other segment of the population. Recent research into scarcity combining behavioral science and economics suggests that faced with extreme economic uncertainty where even the next meal may not be a sure thing, judgment is impaired and the drive is to the instant gratification of junk food rather than to making the necessary investment in the longer term benefits of healthier diet. When junk food is consumed, very often the excess fat, simple carbohydrates, and processed sugar found in junk food contributes to an increased risk of obesity, cardiovascular disease, CVD, and many other chronic health conditions. A case study on consumption of fast foods in Ghana suggested a direct correlation between consumption of junk food and obesity rates. Body mass index. Okay, the report suggests that obesity resulted in related complex health concerns such upsurge of heart attack rates. Studies reveal that as early as the age of 30, arteries could begin clogging and lay the groundwork for future heart attacks. Consumers also tend to eat too much in one sitting, and those who have satisfied their appetite with the junk food are less likely to eat healthy foods like fruits, fresh fruits, or vegetables. Testing on rats has indicated negative effects of junk food that may manifest likewise in people. A Scripps Research Institute study in 2008 suggested that junk food consumption alters brain activity in a manner similar to addictive drugs like cocaine and heroin. After many weeks with unlimited access to junk food, the pleasure centers of rat brains become desensitized, requiring more food for pleasure. After the junk food was taken away and replaced with a healthy diet, the rats starved for 2 weeks instead of eating a nutritious fat. A 2000 study in the British Journal of Nutrition found that female rats that eat junk food during pregnancy increase the likelihood of unhealthy eating habits in their offspring. Other research has been done on the impact of sugary foods on emotional health in humans and has suggested that consumption of junk food can negatively impact energy levels and emotional well-being. In a study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, the frequency of consumption of 57 food drinks of 4,000 children at the age of 4.5 were collected by maternal report. At age 7, the 4,000 children are given the Strengths and Difficulties questionnaire (SDQ) with the 5 scales: hyperactivity, conduct problems, peer problems, emotional symptoms, and pro-social behavior. A 1 standard deviation increase in junk food was linked to excessive hyperactivity in 33% of the subjects, leading to the conclusion that children consuming excess junk food at the age of 7 are more likely to be in the top third of the hyperactivity scale. There was no significant correlation between junk food and the other scales. In an attempt to reduce junk food consumption through price control, forms of Pigouvian taxation have been implemented. Targeting saturated fat consumption, Denmark introduced the world's first fast food fat food tax in October 2011 by imposing a surcharge on all foods, including those made from natural ingredients that contain more than 2.3% saturated fat. An unpopular measure that lasted a little over a year, Hungary has imposed taxes on food and beverages high in added sugar, fat, and salt. Norway taxes refined sugar, and Mexico has various excises on unhealthy food. Excises, okay. Taxes, excise. Okay, on April 1, 2015, the first fat tax in the US, the Navajo Nation's Healthy Dying Nation Act of 2014, mandating a 2% junk food tax, came into effect, covering the 27,000 square miles of Navajo Reservation. The act targeted problems with obesity and diabetes among Navajo population. The advertising and other forms of marketing have been shown to influence children's food preferences, purchasing behavior, and overall dietary behavior. Marketing has also been associated with an increased risk of overweight and obesity in children. The habits children develop early in life may encourage them to adopt unhealthy dietary practices which persist into adulthood, and increasing the likelihood of overweight, obesity, and associated health problems such as diabetes and cardiovascular diseases (CVD). The UK efforts to limit increasingly limit or eliminate advertising of foods high in sugar, salt, or fat at any time, and children may be viewing are ongoing. The UK government has been criticized for failing to do enough to stop advertising and promotion of junk food aimed at children. A UK Parliamentary Select Committee recommended that cartoon characters advertising unhealthy food to children should be banned. Supermarkets should have to remove unhealthy sweets and snacks from ends of aisles and check out its areas. Local authorities should be able to limit the number of fast food outlets in the area. Brands associated with unhealthy foods should be banned. From sponsoring sports clubs, youth leagues and tournaments, and social media like Facebook should be cut down. Junk food advertising to children all are currently just recommendations. In Australia, a Wollongong University study in 2015 showed that junk food sponsors were mentioned over 1,000 times in a single Australian cricket match broadcast, which included ads and branding worn on players' uniforms and on the scoreboard and pitch. The Coalition of Australian Obesity, Cancer and Diabetes Organizations called on Cricket Australia, the sports governing body, to phase out sponsorships with unhealthy brands, emphasizing that cricket is a healthy, family-oriented sport with the children in the audience. The most common unhealthy foods include high processed items such as fast foods and snack foods. Highly processed foods tend to be low in nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, and high on empty calories due to the content of refined flour, sodium, and sugar. Examples of processed foods include chips, cookies, cakes, and sugars, cereals. The preparation method and the types of ingredients the food contains make it unhealthy. Sodium, sugar, and fat, saturated fat, and trans fat are key ingredients one should always monitor when eating out and shopping at the grocery store. The American Heart Association (AHA) recommends keeping the consumption of saturated fat to less than 7% and the consumption of trans fat to less than 1% of an individual's daily calories. According to AHA 2013 Heart Disease Prevention Guidelines, women are smart to shy away from eating foods that contain high levels of sodium and added sugar. For optimal heart health, AHA recommends you consume no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day, no more than 6 teaspoons or 100 calories of sugar a day for women. Unfortunately, the average American eats more than double the recommended sodium and sugar intake, consuming 3,600 milligrams of sodium and 22 teaspoons of sugar daily. How to stay away from food that is bad for you? Choose processed foods carefully. Avoid sodium from the 6 most common salty foods: bread and rolls, cold cuts and cured meats, pizza, burritos and tacos, soup, sandwiches. Read food labels and stay away from items that have sugar added, excess sodium, and fat. Plan ahead and prepare healthy snacks and meals at home made from whole fresh foods. Choose lean meats with less than 10% fat. Do not skip meals. This can contribute to snacking or unhealthy foods when hungry. Unhealthy diet includes overeating of fatty and greasy food and of milk products, sweets, high flavored food, too pungent food, as well as drinking too much alcohol, leading to the formation of damp heat. Unhealthy diets may cause impairment of the spleen and stomach, leading to either deficiency of QI and blood due to weakening of the transportation and transformation of formation of damp phlegm and stagnation of QI and blood. These two conditions could influence each other, bringing about aggravation of the pain. Unhealthy diet includes overeating of fatty and greasy food and of milk products, sweet foods, high flavored food, too pungent food, leading to the formation of damp heat, as I said before. Overeating of cold food and raw food may also cause damage of spleen yang, resulting in the formation of cold damp. Also included is the intake of toxic food such as contaminated and unhygienic food, which causes formation of toxin in the body, leading to stagnation of QI and blood. Dysfunction of the Zhang-Fu organs and blockage of the channels, thus predisposing to cancer development. Improper diet, unhealthy lifestyle, and food with environmental contamination are the main causes of the so-called civilization diseases also known as chronic non-infectious diseases, diabetes, obesity, atherosclerosis, cancer, and allergies. The prevention of these diseases and the treatment require not only the observance of proper diet and lifestyle, but also eating the best quality food. From most of the comparative studies, it appears that food from organic production can bring beneficial effects in the prevention of the mentioned diseases. Food with a high biological value contains the right amount of nutrients with the lowest content of harmful substances. Organic food has all these features: low content of contaminants and high content of vitamin C, carotenoids, and phenolic compounds having strong antioxidant properties. In addition, higher content of sugar and dry matter in organic crops means that they have a higher technological quality and at the same time better and more intense flavor than the conventional ones. Current research also indicates that despite the fact that synthetic fungicides are not used in the organic farming to combat fungal diseases, the level of mycotoxins in organic and conventional cereals is similar. Also, studies on the microbiological contamination indicate parallel level of pathogenic bacteria in organic and conventional crops. Therefore, consumption of organic products compared to conventional ones does not represent a higher risk to health, particularly if they are subjected to adequate heat treatment. An unhealthy diet is an increasing problem in the developed world because of increased consumption of packaged food high in sugar and fat content but low in beneficial micronutrients such as antioxidants. Large epidemiological studies have linked frequent consumption of red and processed meats, known triggers for OAS, with a decline in sperm quality. Furthermore, a high consumption of fruit and vegetables, especially those containing carotene, lutein, and lycopene antioxidants, has been linked with improved sperm quality. Overall, optimal sperm quality is best supported by eating a minimum amount of red and processed meat, salami, and the like, plus plenty of fruit, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and nuts. Furthermore, when randomized controlled trial (RCT) has linked consumption of omega-3 fatty acid supplements in containing docas saxanic acid DHA and icosapentaenoic acid, both abundant in oily fish such as salmon and sardines, with improvements in seminal antioxidant capacity plus sperm motility, concentration, and morphology. Furthermore, another similar study found that the use of DHA supplements has the ability to reduce sperm DNA damage and improve seminal antioxidant status. Therefore, men are advised to increase the intake of oily fish to boost the sperm quality. Nowadays, the infertility rate has gone through the roof. Heavy alcohol intake, generally considered as a consumption of at least 6 standard drinks per day, 60 grams total, has been associated with a systemic pro-oxidant state and a reduction in semen quality. While this reduction in semen quality is multifactorial, the association between heavy alcohol consumption and the presence of increased number of seminal leukocytes does suggest a male reproductive tract inflammatory response with the potential for ROAS production and resulting oxidative damage to the sperm. Similarly, cigarette smoking has been associated with an increase in seminal OAS and impaired spermatogenesis plus an increase in sperm DNA damage, which has been linked with the serious health consequences for the next generation. Interestingly, the combination of high acute consumption of alcohol and cigarettes are associated with the sperm oxidative damage and decline in sperm quality in a recent report examining sperm quality before and after university examination celebrations. As such, alcohol intake should be kept to a minimum, preferably below 2 standard drinks per day, and smoking totally avoided. Obesity is associated with a decline in sperm quality and an increase in sperm oxidative damage, possibly related to an increase in macrophage activation state within semen. The underlying cause for this obesity-related pro-inflammatory state is multifactorial, but recent studies have linked obesity with a breakdown in the barrier function of the intestinal mucosa, allowing bacteria to pass from the gut lumen into the circulation where they initiate an inflammatory response that is likely to result in an increase in ROS production and impaired spermatogenesis. Weight loss through diet, exercise, bariatric surgery, however, is known to improve the sperm quality. A recent RCT of moderate exercise, treadmill walking or jogging for 30 to 45 minutes 3 to 6 days a week in 419 infertile men was reported that exercise did result in reduction in seminal inflammation, sperm OAS, and improvements in sperm quality plus a significant increase in consumption rates. However, as a cautionary note, bicycle riding as a form of exercise has been linked with a reduction in sperm quality possibly mediated by the heating of the testicles by tight-fitting bike clothes or contact with the bike seat, and therefore this type of exercise is probably not ideal for infotainment with an evidence of sperm choice. An unhealthy diet modulates negatively the gut microbiota and its metabolism, leading to development of several diseases. Because of the novel technologies to investigate gut microbiota composition and function, as well as the huge amount of data on the influence of gut microbiota on the occurrence of CVD and CVD-associated metabolic conditions, we are discovering the crucial pathways of the beneficial effects exerted by dietary fiber on these conditions. In this slide, several beneficial effects elicited by the Mediterranean diet on CVD risk could be related to a positive gut microbiota composition, leading to a subsequent increased butyrate production, which in turn could be possible responsible for many extra intestinal effects. All these findings are reinforcing the actual dietary strategies against CVD and are paving the way for future possible therapeutic interventions involving gut microbiota disease-derived compounds such as butyrate. A weak constitution, chronic sickness, unhealthy diet, and overstrain may all cause deficiency of the spleen, QE, and yang. When the QE and yang fail to warm the organs and channels in the abdomen, interior cold may form, blocking the middle burner and channels and causing abdominal pain. Constitutional yang excess, long-lasting febrile disease or habitual eating of spicy food may cause excessive heat to form in the intestines, which may consume the yin and body fluids, leading to deficiency of yin and body fluid. In Andhra, people eat a lot of spicy food. Most of them have pile later when the channels, collaterals, muscle, tendons, and vessels, as well as internal organs, are not properly nourished, and abdominal pain. The bulk of cost estimates relating to unhealthy diets and obesity relates to direct costs arising from increased medical expenditure on diagnosis, treatment, and management. A range of methods have been used in estimating these, ranging from cohort studies where medical costs arising among groups of subjects varying by body mass index (BMI) ranges are examined over several years, to regression models, to studies based on dynamic simulation models of the relationship between BMI and NCD risks. These studies frequently extrapolate from study samples to the national population. Costs accruing to the national economy have been found to be substantial, although it is worth noting that comparability across studies is complicated by differing protocols, methods, and pathways and components taken into account. A key issue in cost estimation relates to lifetime costs. Whether medical cost savings due to yearly mortality caused by obesity offsets increased medical costs accrued during the lifetime of overweight and obese individuals. NAFLD NASH patients generally have an unhealthy diet, over consuming fructose and soft drinks, meat, saturated fats, and cholesterol, and with reduced intake of fiber, fish, and omega-3 fatty acids. Recently, attention has been paid to fructose intake in the pathogenesis of NAFLD. The obesogenic Western diet, in fact, very rich in fructose. Fructose is naturally present in fruits, some vegetables, and honey. These natural foods contain small amounts of fructose that in turn are slowly absorbed. Nowadays, fructose is mostly consumed through commercial and industrial products such as sweetened beverages, soft drinks, and high fructose corn syrup. The influence of nutritional and dietary interventions on the development of NAFLD in adolescents has been definitely. Moreover, the same study revealed a clear association between the Western dietary patterns assessed at the age of 14 by nutritional questionnaire and the risk of developing NAFLD, investigated by Abdominal US, when the same enrolled participants reached the age of 17. The composition of the diet as micro and macronutrients is important, perhaps more than the total calorie intake, the pathogenesis and treatment of NAFLD. A prospective cross-sectional study conducted on 55 obese Brazilian children The NAFLD demonstrates the lack of association between daily caloric intake and the presence of NAFLD. Fructose consumption was definitely independently associated with NASH after adjustment of our multiple measured confounders. High fructose intake causes increased DML, subsequently hypertriglyceridemia, and increased visceral adiposity. Furthermore, it modulates gut microflora and intestinal permeability, hence promoting metabolic endotoxemia. 9. Bad eating habits, mindless eating, nighttime noshing, endless snacking, skipping breakfast, emotional eating, eating too quickly, not getting enough sleep, waking out with video games, eating junk food. 19. Healthy habits to adopt in the new year. Eat the rainbow, that is, different colored fruits and vegetables. Try new foods, pay attention to your food, eat slowly, find better ways to manage stress, read ingredient labels, cook more, develop a routine, reorganize your kitchen, do not starve, whip out the measuring cups, use smaller plates, drink more water, eat veggies first, save leftovers, prepare meals and snacks, read the menu before you go half seas. Do not eat to the full. Okay, do not beat yourself up over food. 20 foods that are generally unhealthy, although most people can eat them in moderation on special occasions without any permanent damage to their health. Sugary drinks, pizza, white bread, most fruit juices, sweetened breakfast cereals, fried, grilled or broiled food, pastries, cookies and cakes, French fries and potato chips, gluten-free junk food, agave nectar, low-fat yogurt, low-carb junk foods, ice cream, candy bars, processed meat, processed cheese, most fast food meals, high-calorie coffee drinks, anything with added sugar or refined grains, most highly processed foods. Companies never care about the consumer's health or ethics. They commit premeditated crimes, selling anything and everything through which they can make mint money. Tall claims are made in advertisements. Most of the processed food for children are real junk, and these are advertised attractively during children's programs on TV and magazines. Similarly, ready to eat food masalas are advertised during soaps that ladies watch. People have become very lazy ordering cut vegetables, fruits, prepared masalas, pre-cooked food besides online food orders. I really wonder whether there'll be a kitchen in residences in near future. People seldom cook using basic raw materials nowadays. Those days, males alone used to work, but now both husbands and wives work. Life has become highly mechanized and people hate doing the household chores, even though plenty of gadgets and kitchen appliances have made it very easy. There are food processors, wet grinders, dishwashers, washing machine, refrigerator, microwave ovens, gas, electric induction stoves, LPG, etc. People have become couch potatoes, watching the idiot box, also known as television, and consume plenty of junk food. Mouse potatoes, also known as computer geeks and IT field, consume mostly junk food, that too at all times. That's why most of them are obese. Food and medicines banned in developed countries are sold legally in underdeveloped and developed countries like India. Classic examples are Ajinomoto, also known as Chinese salt, palm oil, tobacco products, vanaspati, and chicory. Most of the processed food snacks are made using palm oil. Palm oil is very bad for the heart. Snacks and sweets contain too much salt, vanaspati, and inorganic colors and flavors. Anything refined is very bad for the health. Carbonated beverages, also known as sodas, are non-appetizers and empty calories. Western food like chips, sodas, French fries, pizzas, burgers, sandwiches are too bad for the health and result in obesity, diabetes, CVD, cancer, and all types of lifestyle disease. Indian food, especially idli, khichdi, also known as poga, those are healthy breakfast items as per scientific studies. Another major culprit is sedentary lifestyles. Everything is polluted, air, water, ambient noise levels. Corporates loot money from the gullible through genetically modified GM. That to inorganic food, refrigerators and microwave ovens are very bad innovations since people stuff all food prepared even months back and consume the rotten stuff by heating it up again with the microwave ovens. Avoid deep fried foods as much as possible, but the fact is that per capita consumption of deep fried food has increased exponentially. People get addicted to the taste and attach very little attention to the nutrition value and adverse impact on health. Avoid fast foods, nothing equivalent to the hygienically prepared home food, especially from raw materials. Avoid eating out or ordering junk food online. Reduce carbon footprint by reducing the per capita energy consumption. Use bicycles and manually powered commute modes like sail or power pedal boats rather than automobiles, airplanes, and ships. Be concerned about society and environment. Adopt energy conservation methods in all walks of life. Switch to renewable and non-conventional source of energy. Live in harmony with nature. Reduce consumption of non-vegetarian food. Debates and discussion on open-ended topics like this can go on for a year. Anyway, let me pull the plug here. We'll meet again real soon with another interesting topic. Some of the statements views expressed are solely mine based on limited knowledge gained over 6 decades of versatile experience. Always watch these videos with a closed caption, subtitles for absolute 100% comprehension as per my sincere recommendation. Zillion times so far, I know I rushed through to complete the presentation within 20 minutes max, which is the norm that I have set myself to retain the viewer's attention. But I know the fact that I take much more time than that. Maybe today I have taken double that time or sometimes even triple since I make honest attempts to cover the selected topic more elaborately, including so many intricate fine details referring a wide variety of sources, in particular Wikipedia quite extensively, besides articles and books published recently, besides, of course, I sprinkle my own salt and pepper and season it with my personal experiences so far in my life, and also intuition. Stay at home as much as possible to maintain social distancing attributed to the pandemic novel COVID-19 and prolong your lifespan. Lead a healthy lifestyle. God, also known as the Supreme Power, is the one and only one who can put a stop to natural and unnatural viral and cyber war events like pandemics and epidemics, which ultimately paves the way for apocalypse and the extinction of a sentient species, all sentient species on the earth for no fault of theirs. Rest in peace and harmony. இன்னைக்கு 30